This is Anthony Phillips from PureSource Labs. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And where's PureSource Labs located, Anthony?
We are located in Northern California. I myself am in Florida right now, but I was born out there, and I have a lot of family out there. And we started really getting into the cannabis industry about 2016, but we quickly sort of moved over into the hemp CBD realm just because of the results we were seeing. So that's our headquarters is out there, up in the redwoods.
Okay. That's interesting. Maybe you can explain for our viewers the difference between CBD oil or hemp oil
Hmm.
or any cannabis product because I'm familiar somewhat with the difference, but I'll bet a lot of people don't really catch on to that. Maybe you can give
Yeah,
us
so
that.
so a lot of people are familiar with hearing the THC. So that's kind of how they what people would know as marijuana. That strain of cannabis that's very popular for using for recreational use. That's become also popular lately for health reasons. They've always been able to. You can extract CBD from the marijuana plant, which is different in a lot of ways than hemp, even though they are related. Um, so people have been doing this. They've been extracting THC and CBD and using it in places where it was legal medically and then recreationally. But over the past few years, with the wide availability of hemp, people realized that you could get CBD, one of those compounds in marijuana, from hemp as well. And because of its availability, you started to see it being a lot more available to people across state lines in different areas and places that maybe didn't have recreational or medical marijuana. So hemp sort of opened that door for bringing it to people. The way it stands now is hemp has become more legal, more available, and more widely accepted. But still, if CBD is taken from a marijuana plant, it's only legal in a state that allows recreational or medical marijuana, whereas hemp is basically legal everywhere now. So as long as the CBD is extracted from the plant, which hemp is known for not having a lot of the psychoactive chemical THC in it, and that's why it's popular and why it's available for people
Nice.
seeking that medical use and without getting the what people would call the high from THC.
Now, you mentioned something about the results you were seeing led you into this arm of the industry. Can you give me a little more on that?
Yeah, so I mean, it started with me really. I was attending a cannabis conference in Southern Florida, and I saw they had CBD everywhere, and I was like, how? And this was back in 2016. I was like, how do they have this here? How is this possible? And they said it was from hemp. So I'm obviously very skeptical about these things. So I actually tried it. And, I got some gummies and tried it, and I found that I slept incredibly well. And so I was like, wow, this seems like something amazing. And so I started educating myself on it more. I started buying CBD products for people that I knew and just giving it to them. So I was friends, family. I was like, please try this. Let me know how, whether they had pain, sleep issues, stress. And the feedback that I was getting was just always the same. It's like I was waiting for someone to say, nah, I didn't notice anything, but everybody was very positive, and they're like, wow, I slept amazing, or I stopped taking, my pain meds, and all these crazy stories that just seemed too good to be true.
Hmm.
And so I realized we really needed to add this as part of what we were doing in the cannabis space, and it's really become the focus of what we're doing because um, it's just people, our grandparents and my mother and aunts and uncles, a lot of these people who were taking it would never go to a dispensary or wouldn't touch, marijuana, so to speak, but the CBD is very acceptable to them. And so we continue to see results. I just was on a phone call with somebody today whose uncle has cancer, and he's actually taking less opioids now
Hmm.
because of using the CBD oil. It's
Hmm.
helping him manage his pain in a way that he can actually reduce those dangerous drugs. So
Hmm.
I hear stories like that every day, and it just never ceases to amaze me, the feedback that we get.
I understand. I heard you mention that you used it in a gummy bear or some sort of gummy product.
Yeah.
How else can you use this product?
Well, probably the best and most well-known way is with sublingual drops that are usually in an oil base. That absorbs quickly into your system. It works fast. You get a lot of it into your system. Gummy bears are another popular one. They're capsules people have, but I've found that the feedback from the capsules is not great.
Hmm.
I think it's just because it takes longer to get it going, and your body breaks a lot of it down.
Hmm.
Vape is very popular. A lot of people vape it for stress, just in the middle of the day. Take a quick puff, and they're great. One of our most popular things that we use is topical pain rubs, and those
Hmm.
are very popular. Seem to work very well. People love them. They love using them in combination with the drops, especially athletes. We have a lot of athletes that will take the drops and use the topical pain.
I've also seen this in cosmetic products of various kinds. Is that something that you guys also get into?
Yes, we do. We have some interesting things in a month or so that we'll be launching. That's all top secret right now, but we do have a lot of skincare items. And next weekend we're doing a show in Northern California. It's a beauty show,
Hmm.
and CBD is great for the skin. Again, we see amazing results, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, and just the ability to use it for so many different things because it just works so well with our biology. So we have a whole range of skincare items, from cleansers to anti-aging creams, to body butters, massage oils, just a lot of different things.
Great. Now, when you started this company, you started it as a cannabis company, I guess. So, in order to make it back then anyway legal, you wouldn't be able to have THC in your product. And I suppose at this point, now that you're into CBD oil, you do some sort of verification that your CBD oil indeed is pure CBD oil rather than
Yeah,
THC mixed in.
yeah. There is a legal allowable amount of THC, and it's a trace amount. So you do have to be very careful. It has to be less than 0.3%. Many of the items we carry are isolate, which means they don't have anything else in them. Some are full spectrum and they have other cannabinoids, but it is something you have to watch for. So we test from the part where it comes from the farm, the lab, and then the final products we test, and we post those on our site too, so people can look, see what's in them, and realize that they're safe, and they're not going to be breaking any laws by using them.
How do you source the farm product? I mean, who grows this stuff besides the side of the road?
Yeah, it's been growing. Well, the industry. I mean, at first, a lot of people were getting it from Kentucky. Kentucky had a lot of hemp, and we still get a lot of hemp from Kentucky. Colorado is a huge source of it. Oregon is a very good source. I just heard recently that North Carolina is going to be doing a bunch of growing. So we try to, we always pick the best possible, growers that have, good reviews. We get what we have now from Kentucky. We have gotten some things from Colorado. California, we would love to start our own farm, but the laws in California are actually a little behind, surprisingly, when it comes to hemp. Even though they were very progressive and ahead of the curve with marijuana, when it comes to hemp, they seem to be behind everybody else. So they need to catch up. And as soon as they do, I would love to do a farming operation in Northern California and start growing our own, CBD hemp plants, and ones that are heavy in CBG as well.
Is there some? I mean, I guess we all know weed is a weed, and hemp is a weed too. Is there anything special about growing it, or can anybody just throw a few seeds in the ground and look for it to pop up sometime soon?
Yeah, the right seeds. The seeds are actually one of the big challenges, is coming by the correct seeds, being able to grow it somewhere. You're going to need a lot of outdoor space. It does grow like very large trees. You're going to need a lot of it to extract the CBD. Unlike marijuana has a very high concentration of THC and CBD, or one or the other, but hemp doesn't have a very large concentration. So to extract it, it takes a lot. So you need a lot of space. You can't grow it near marijuana because of the way pollination and different things work. You can end up kind of messing with the genetics a little bit. And as it is, when people are growing hemp, it is possible for them to grow what they call hot, where it has too much THC in it. Even though it is CBD dominant, it can have a lot of THC. So you want to try to get it where it's growing low levels of THC, a lot of open space, and then a lot of good outdoor space where you can keep it from being contaminated by other plants or by chemicals and things like that.
Yeah, is there anybody growing this product indoors using grow lights or hydroponics?
I haven't seen that. I think some people may have some like greenhouses that are, I wouldn't consider those really like indoor compared to some of the marijuana grows that I've seen that are indoor or hydroponic, like you're saying. Most of it, they need a lot of space. So if you look at the farms in Oregon and stuff, they're all outdoor, wide open, big fields, a lot of acreage to get what they need. So yeah, it's I haven't seen any really big indoor grows myself.
And there isn't any way to make a genetic variant of the hemp plant that has a higher concentration of CBD but without the THC?
No, some of them have almost none. It's a trace amount. In the extraction process, they now are able to you basically have isolate, which is where they just extract the CBD and you get nothing else. And then you have full spectrum where you get everything that's in the plant, terpenes, different cannabinoids, and sometimes a little trace amount of THC. And now they have what they call broad spectrum, which is like full spectrum, but they are able to completely extract out all the THC. So you have all the cannabinoids, all the terpenes, and no THC.
Uh-huh. Have you found? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's all.
Have you found a difference in the products that you supply? Have you found a difference in providing or in what results when you give people the full spectrum versus the CBD only product?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, the full spectrum, we get better feedback. You have the entourage effect is what they call it, when all the terpenes and the cannabinoids and the whole plant material is working together. You get different effects than just the single one alone. There's some people that, for reasons of maybe drug testing or other things, they're just only feel comfortable taking isolate. But overall, I would say that the best response comes from the full spectrum, getting the whole plant, all the different compounds in it.
Mm-hmm. And just to be clear, this is all the different compounds does not include the psychoactive compounds, of which there are, I suppose, 2 or 3.
Yeah, if there are any, it's such a low percentage that nobody would feel an effect or even notice it. Like the legal amount in this country for THC is 0.3%. Some other countries it's 0.2%, which is so small. And like some of the things that some of our full spectrum oils that we do the testing on it, and there's 0 in them, even though it's allowable. It's such a small amount that it's just non-existent.
Mm-hmm. Do you do the testing yourself, or is this somewhere that you have a lab and you're cooperating with?
We use third-party labs to do that, and we try to use ones with good reputation. Testing in the industry, and this is something that I don't think people will tell you often, is it's you can test at 10 different labs and get 10 different results. So we try to deal with ones that are very consistent, have all their SOPs in order, because no matter what, you're going to get different results. But you want to use a high-profile lab with a good reputation, and that's what we try to do, so that we know what's in it and we can share it with our customers.
Yeah, I read something recently that a number of labs, I think it was in California or maybe it was in Michigan, had been censured or even shut down because their testing procedures were inadequate, and
Hmm.
they were just
Yeah.
slipshod about what they were doing. I suppose anytime there's a burgeoning big business like this, there are going to be a
Yep.
lot of scammy operators somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be that way for a while, and I don't even think everyone has bad intentions. It's just like the Wild West. So much of it is, people are just trying to get into it and get going, and they don't always know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I've seen that in labs that do extraction too. They're just starting out. It's like they're learning everything. Like the equipment, there wasn't specific equipment for doing this. They're starting to be now, but they were having to Frankenstein their lab together with extraction equipment they were using for basically for cannabis or for marijuana, and it may have not been optimal. So it's all emerging and changing, and the regulations will change, and it'll get better and better. But yeah, there's a lot changing every day.
I do want to venture into something that I think people maybe need to be aware of, and that is there are Chinese suppliers of
Hmm.
CBD isolate or CBD oil or something like that. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the reputation or about whether the product is reasonably tested or not. I wonder if you have any insight on that.
Yeah, I mean, we do everything we can to keep it, and there's going to be enough here where we can say that we source from America only. We just like that. I just like being able to source it from here. I know our standards are very high. Everything is organically grown here. Even if we go with a different lab, chances are everything is done in a good way. Canada does supply, and I've never heard any problems with Canada. You have from Europe, there's a few places. I know Austria, different places produce it. Again, I've heard nothing but good things about there. We just choose to source from America. Chinese, it's one of those things where the standards that they may be using are not the same as the standards we have here. So even though we're emerging with regulation, it's like the farmers and the people here, their standards for how they process and how they farm are very different. I personally would not trust CBD products from China just because of not knowing. If you have a big lab where you could bring it in and you could test it yourself or third party test it for things that could be problematic in it, pesticides, residual things that from growing it, mold, and actually know what's in it. That might be okay, but I like having that. Working with a farm that I know does that and has the same standards. So China, I mean, I don't know what you would be getting from them. That's my only hesitation with that.
Right. And that's something I share that opinion. You just don't know what you're getting. Now, another thing that has raised some confusion among people that are looking at our site anyway is the sort of confluence of views about kratom versus
Mm-hmm.
CBD. Tell me what you know about that.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot. I know I have a friend in Texas that uses it, and to me, it's almost like I just saw an article today that said is kratom the CBD of opiates. So that I really don't know a whole lot about it. I know that CBD really exploded 2 or 3 years ago before it had its acceptance now. It really exploded in the smoke shop, vape shop, um, in that whole scene, and kratom is also very popular there.
Yeah.
I know there have been stories of people who have, from as far as I can tell, have been harmed by it. That makes me worry. I don't think I would use it. I mean, I don't. I'm not an expert on it. Um, but with CBD, it's such a benign substance. There's no way to overdose on it. It has very few drug interactions. It does have some that if people are taking it, we always recommend they speak with their doctor. It works similar in a way. The easiest way I can explain it is like grapefruit. There's some medications that if people take, there's an enzyme in grapefruit that will block the action. CBD kind of works the same way,
Hmm.
but that's very few things. Maybe blood thinners. and a few other things. But in general, it's such, people give it to children for seizures and different things. It's just a very natural, very just non-toxic thing that you can put into your body. Kratom, I don't know much about. I just know that it's been linked to some possible deaths, and I don't know why, but it may have not been it, but I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Right. Okay. Well, Anthony Phillips of PureSource Labs, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this video interview was recorded like I intended it to be, and we'll get it posted and transcribed and so forth. If it didn't come across properly, then I may have to be back with you again. But
That's
it's
okay.
been a pleasure talking to you anyway, and we'll certainly post some links to your labs and a note about how people can find the CBD products that you're in the business with. I really appreciate your time, Anthony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.